on today's episode of the Cryptoverse. So, last Thursday, the 15th of November, I put out a video called Why Bitcoin Fell, and I offered three market forces that were acting simultaneously. I also showed a version of this graph, which basically charts the market cycles and their emotional themes. This one's a little bit more sophisticated than the one I showed the other day, but it's basically the same thing. I then said that calls for a new bull market were premature because I wasn't convinced that we had gone through the despair phase down here, and most people were talking about capitulation, forgetting that was the final stage. And since we would have to travel through the despair phase anyway, through this valley, the sooner we got through it, the better. Now, that was ironically well timed by the looks of the markets now. What I'm seeing now in terms of the breathtaking drops in crypto valuations is definitely a candidate for that final phase, the blow-off phase, which moves the market through despair and then, as it says here, back to the mean, a return to the mean. So there is news that I could cover today, but my intuition tells me that the most value I can be today is to provide some insight and some perspective. So I believe what the crypto community needs right now is real reasons to feel better rather than just giving you false hope. So that's what I've got for you today. Now, if you are new around here and you would like to support the show, get rid of the ads, and earn cryptocurrency rewards on a daily basis, please visit the website, thecryptoverse.show. Click on that big blue button, get paid to watch, and it'll explain exactly how to get rid of the ads, support the show, and earn cryptocurrency rewards every day. If you are new to crypto, you're kind of lucky because you're being offered cryptos at valuations that are at significant discounts. So that's kind of cool. So let's do a quick market roundup. I'm not going to dwell on this because I don't think it's helpful, right? But let's touch on it just by way of a setup. I would be surprised if you haven't already seen this, but cryptos are taking another double-digit move down. Some of them have even tipped down to like 20% losses on the day. I mean, just a quick glance at CoinMarketCap will show you here that double-digit losses again, and this is not the first day. Bitcoin Cash is kind of an outlier here with a loss of 40% nearly. I look at this in the context of the big drops that we've seen on previous days, and I start to think that this is the type of thing that many altcoins may not be able to survive. I'm thinking about coins that are funded through the crypto networks themselves, and the market prices of those, and funding the project teams and things like that. Maybe the ICOs will be okay if they've liquidated some into fiat and they can live off that. But I have no doubt whether the leaders will survive. Yeah, they definitely will. You know, the top 10 definitely, like the Bitcoins, the XRPs, the Ethereums, all this lot, especially the Ethereums of this world, because they're so decentralized that, you know, it would be, I can't see all of the parties in the Ethereum community disappearing at the same time. Ethereum is an organism, which will always have enough parts to keep it alive, in my view. You know, sometimes I have to close the charts in these market conditions, or what I find myself doing is unconsciously kind of like pulling my eyelashes out. I sit at my desk sometimes and I find myself doing this. And often it's because I think I can see an eyelash in my vision, and that's just an excuse to pull it out. Now, I think the technical term for this is a condition called trichotillomania, which is, you know, the propensity to pull your hair out, whether you're on your head or whatever. Now, I don't do this all the time, right? It only shows up, that compulsive behavior only shows up when I'm in stress, which, like I said yesterday, yes, of course, the market movements bother me, despite all my meditation training, despite my rational mind knowing that crypto isn't going anywhere. Still, there is an emotional reaction to it. I know. You're sat there thinking it's ridiculous, and I totally agree. I mean, If I'm going to plug something, it may as well be my eyebrows, right? That's actually a perfect marker for some of my videos. If you just randomly picked one of my videos, if I had thick eyebrows, then you would know it's a bull market. And if I had no eyebrows, you would know I shot that video in a bear market. Genius. All right, enough jokes. Okay, maybe one more. Bitcoin is just doing its annual Black Friday sale, according to Jameson Lopp. Bitcoin 75% off this Friday. And we often say that in a dip, that cryptos are on sale, they're having a discount sale. It just so happens this time around, maybe this is a kind of a sick joke by the Illuminati or the market manipulators to crash the crypto prices right when Black Friday is coming up. Yeah, that's just a bit of a joke. Okay, seriously, enough jokes now. Let's get on to the insights. Now, I know how much people hate clickbait titles, so here is what most people don't realize about crypto prices falling, which is the title of this video. So it's antithetical to the reality of the entire crypto revolution. The prices falling the way they are is, in my view, completely antithetical to the reality of the crypto revolution. In my view, we do not have a future without Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and blockchain technology. At least not a very pleasant one, anyway. So the world needs tokenization and blockchain technology in order to deal with the highly connected world that we now find ourselves in and find ourselves living in. So organizations that are structured as hierarchies work great. The problem is they are still being used when the world they were suited for no longer exists. So this often happens. The world is always in a constant state of flux. It's always a hybrid version of outdated models and innovative models. So you don't just automatically switch society from one to the other, do you? You go from industrialization and then you go through a mix where it's half industrialized, half knowledge work and so on. Eventually it washes out. So hierarchical organizations, they are based on someone at the top that has access to all the information and they pass it down the chain of command, or an information flows from the bottom to the top, right? So I've actually got an image for you on this one. So this is typically the mental model, at the very least, of how we think about hierarchical organization. And we can think of the lines on this organization chart as the lines of communication, right? All flowing to the top. We even use terms like, who do you report to? So these people at the bottom report to their managers, and then their senior managers, then the executives, and then the CEO perhaps, right? But we know for a fact that even in hierarchical organizations of today, none of them actually look like this in reality, do they, right? And this is thanks largely to the internet and smartphones. We now have, I'm assuming that if you work in a company, for example, we now have a direct line of communication from each person in the organization to every other person in the organization. And more than that, we probably have multiple lines of communication to the same person, meaning I could send them an email, a text message, a Slack message, or some other instant message. I could post on the company project management system and update a task that we're both involved in. That's all lines of communication. So it's not like that hierarchical diagram we just saw there. Now we are well and truly in this hyperconnected world. And in that world, the flow of information is not sequential like this, where it goes from person to person to person in a nice, neat order. In a networked organization where everyone's connected to everyone else in multiple ways, information flows chaotically. That information flows in all directions at all times. Yet we still behave as if organizations work like this, and we're still thinking like this in many ways. So I can summarize that by saying that hierarchical organizations are based on which position you are in and how much power comes with that position. While, conversely, the highly interconnected network organizations, they're more akin to a mini social network where your influence is defined by, number one, who you have a relationship with, and number two, how well you have built and maintained that relationship, right? So this is why the internet came along at this point in human history. And this is why Bitcoin and blockchain technology appeared in 2009 at this point in human history. Human society had already evolved to the point where it outgrew previous models. And it was already operating somewhat in a network structure, but within a hierarchical mindset. So I don't think it's the case that blockchain technology is going to change the world. I see it more the other way around, as blockchain technology is this tool that came along to help facilitate the global transformation that human consciousness was already undergoing and moving towards. It was the tension that we felt as humanity was evolving and was reaching the restrictions of the old hierarchical model. We felt that tension, and out of that was born an innovation, a completely new model of organization and technology to help us facilitate that. So the bottom line is that the world needs these blockchain and token networks. It needs them, right? That's a fact. And no matter what the prices are doing, every day, the crypto glacier, as I call it, is sliding down the hill. It inches ever further down the hill day by day by day. It's inevitable and it's unstoppable. That's why I call it a glacier. So, and I say the crypto glacier is inevitable and unstoppable because crypto is riding on the back of human evolution, right? Good luck trying to stop that. Now, if you want a deeper and more comprehensive dive into these concepts, I'm going to refer you to this video from the Complexity Labs YouTube channel, which I honestly believe will give you a genuine optimism rather than false hope, because it's very, very logical information and it's based on the hard facts about the reality and the world that we now find ourselves in, which is also largely what I've based my content on today. All the crypto sellers prove is that they lack vision. And that's fine, right? Vision is something you either have right now or you don't have. And I see you can't judge someone for something that wasn't their choice. Like, you can criticize someone's poor decisions if you want, but if it's something they have no choice about, you can't say anything about that. So does this mean, all this that I've talked about today, does this mean you should hold on to your cryptos? If you have vision, does that mean you should hold? Does it mean you should buy more, right? Well, if you're asking those questions, you might have missed the main point of this video, because in the short term, the market prices have got nothing to do with the fundamentals, evidently, right? And switching your outlook from short-term thinking to long-term thinking isn't something I can really do for you, number one. And number two, isn't really a flip of a switch. You know, it's not just something you do. It's more a mental habit of thinking short-term or thinking long-term. So making that transition from short-term to long-term thinking, that's more of a personal development project that you would have to undertake for yourself. Or maybe you could just dislike this video and go watch another When Moon video, which I'm sure some people are going to do anyway. I'm fine with that. The question you might ask is, what am I going to do? Well, I'll give you some thoughts on that just to close this video off, but you absolutely must not base your investment decisions on it, okay? So fundamentally, I invest based on 1,000-year-old principles, right? One of which is diversification of asset classes. Now, let's be clear, I am totally overexposed in crypto, but I was smart enough not to put everything into it. I do have somewhat diversification, even if it's only mild. So what that means is that I have a reasonable amount of gold and silver sat in my Uphold account, which I can just, switch into any one of the major cryptos in less than a minute. Now, the fee that Uphold charge for this is like 2%, but when crypto prices are falling like this and you get these little windows of opportunity, speed is kind of key. So I don't mind that whatsoever. And also, given the discounts we've got here, 2%, not really bothered about that. Because, if it turns around and goes back to where it was, that 2% fee will be paid back in abundance. So now I'm basically going to watch the charts with the explicit intention of missing the bottom. So that means I want to see a consistent increase in the price, you could call it, say, an uptrend, which I intend to miss out on. Then I'll look for an entry point, right? So I think it's much better to get in once the move has begun, say after it's already 10% of the way into the move, rather than trying to guess the bottom, because if you try and guess the bottom, you're greatly increasing your risk for an extra 10%. And in that case, the increase in the risk is huge, while the extra reward isn't enough to balance that out, right? Which is often why you also need to master FOMO. You almost need to integrate and fully accept and even seek, in a way, missing out, right? Because then that could be part of your investing strategy. If you intend to miss out on the first 10% of the move to give you the certainty that, give you the confidence and put probability on your side that we are going up, there we jolly well go, right? That reduces your risk quite significantly. And like I always say in trading and investing, minimizing your losses is actually more important than making gains, because the money you lose is harder to get back, and a 50% drop in your portfolio means it has to double to get back to where it was. And then finally, if you lose all your capital, you're actually out of the game completely. So those are just 3 quick principles that I've shared with you just there. But that is all I've got for you today. So if you liked this episode, go ahead and hit that like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Please leave me a comment below with some feedback, and I would very much appreciate it if you would get subscribed. Please also check out the online store where you can get clothing items, hats, mugs, towels, what's the other thing, backpacks, bearing various cryptocurrency logos and the Cryptoverse branding. I appreciate you purchasing from the online store, because that's one of the ways to help to keep this channel going. Other than that, I'll be back with the next episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.